This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by EXA. EXA brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've compiled the best elements of cutting-edge ENC tech, Bluetooth 5.0, 7.1 surround sound, plus a lot of extras for the best gaming headset for the price. And they've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, plus they won't break the bank. You can learn more about the headsets that are available and any current promotions by going to f5live.tv/exa. Hello, Internet. Sorry for the interruption. I just want to let you know we're doing an audience survey to get to know you better, what you like, what you don't, what we might need to change. It's completely free. It takes about 60 seconds. If you go to PLUGHITZlive.com/audience and fill out the survey, you'll be entered for one of 2 CES prize packs with bags and shirts and a whole lot more. Again, it takes 60 seconds, PLUGHITZlive.com/audience. And now, back to the show. Something not great in the gaming world right now is the conversations taking place at both Microsoft and Sony about in-game advertising platforms for the Xbox and the PlayStation. We know that on mobile games, we talked about it a little while ago, we talked mobile games. On mobile games, there's a lot of advertising, oftentimes straight up commercials. It's the way a lot of mobile games, especially the free-to-play, whether you're playing, Candy Crush or The Office, doesn't matter. They're mostly powered by advertising. The few exceptions are things like Pokemon Go that do everything based on in-game in-app purchases. But we've mostly avoided obtrusive advertising in games on consoles. Sure, in racing games, you'll see, the tracks might have sponsors in the same way they would in a real game. In UFC or FIFA, of course, you might see brand logos, things like that. But minus one glaring exception that I can come up with, we've mostly not seen any kind of hardcore advertising in console games. UFC 4 being that glaring exception. They ran a full commercial in the game, and gamers revolted, and EA actually had to go to Reddit to apologize. It was a big thing. So EA's gotten real good at apologizing for stupid decisions, though. But in this case, Microsoft, first, there was a report that Microsoft was working on an in-game advertising platform, and not to be outdone, a report came out that Sony was having similar, if not identical, conversations in-house about the same thing. What I'm hoping is that the slightly more detailed information that we've gotten from Sony's camp is going to be the reality for Microsoft as well. Sony is essentially talking about, say you're in a city and there's a billboard. The advertisement could be generated and swapped out just like ads on either of our websites are at any given time, which I think would be okay. What I'm hoping is not going to be the case is to progress, you have to watch a commercial like in the mobile games or like UFC 4. Fingers crossed on that. But, we see advertisements on the Xbox dashboard already. Essentially, Microsoft wants to expand that. And Sony wants to get in on the game as well. Neither company has really talked about neither company has talked about anything. But the people who have anonymously given information on the talks have said that neither company is really sure on how monetization might work. But both of them are going to control who can and cannot advertise. And that, I think, is the reason why both are getting involved. I've been thinking about this for a couple of days. My thought is both companies know that this is coming, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. And so they want to make it easy to integrate in-game advertising while still being able to control the content. That's my feelings on what's going on. It wasn't how I felt when I wrote the article, but it's how I'm feeling today. That might change tomorrow, but that's where I am right now. What do you think, Abram?
Sorry. I think that this if it leads to you getting games cheaper or free to play, then it is probably a good thing for the consumer. Although, as we've seen on mobile, a lot of that really becomes very annoying. But at the same time, I mean, you know, some things you just are expensive and you don't want to have to pay for, and so you pay with your time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now,
Sure.
I hope that when I think what will really annoy people and would annoy me is if I paid $60 for a game and then I'm playing the game and I have to watch ads. I mean, there's product placement and then there's ads, right? Like if
Yeah.
I'm on a racing game and I see a little billboard that I'm racing by, I mean, whatever. But
I suspect that
it,
that is what we're talking about here. From what both companies are saying, or what the anonymous people with inside knowledge, as we know, is how this information gets out all the time. Both companies are looking at that kind of a model where it would be more like digital billboards in games than it would be full over the top commercials.
what I mean, what do they mean by a billboard? Is it like going to be something that's sticky to the top of the screen?
No, no, no. Like actual like in town or in game billboards. Like if you're in Grand Theft Auto online, let's say, and there are physical billboards throughout the town. You know, Spotify could put an ad on that billboard,
how
or
many how
it
many
could default
games
to.
have how many games have that kind of world where you
I don't
might
know.
see that?
I don't know. But I suspect that the game companies, because remember, when it comes to the consoles, the consoles approve and deny releases for titles, right? So
Right.
I have a feeling that the publishers have been coming to Microsoft and Sony and going, "There's demand for this in our games, and so far you're not allowing us to. So far, there's no way to do it. We're thinking about doing it. This is what we want to do." And Microsoft and Sony are going, "Oh, they could run ads for anything they want. That would be a huge problem. What if we build an ad platform to prevent them from
Yeah,
being
that
in
would be
charge? Then we can be in charge. So that way we know that it's not going to be inappropriate content." Because I'll tell you, I've been playing this stupid mobile office game, and I hate everybody who suggested it. Um, so I spend too much time in it. But I'll tell you, there are some there are a lot of ads that I'm surprised are allowed to run on an Apple device, to be perfectly honest. Apple doesn't have control over the ads that are run, but they are for games that are in their store. So a little bit. So I don't know. I think they want to prevent that situation. That's my guess. Right this
I
second.
mean,
Again, my
I
thoughts
hope
are
they do.
evolving on it.
I hope they do because online ad networks are notorious for
Hmm.
not adequately screening ads. I mean, go to
We
any content site on the web.
I I the best example I can come up with offhand was when G4 TV, before they went away, was using the Yahoo ad platform, because Comcast had, doesn't matter. They were using Yahoo as their ad provider, and Yahoo didn't approve a particular ad. It just happened, and G4 started delivering malware to their users through their website.
Right. So I mean, you really like a lot of these ad networks don't vigorously screen ads at all,
Yeah,
and and publishers don't have time, and they don't actually even have the ability if it's on an ad network to pre-screen things.
right.
So
You can only be retroactive.
Yeah, you could just complain after. So it it's a really big problem. So yeah, I mean, I hope that there'll be a higher standard for these game consoles because kids play it, and it's,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it's just
that's an
I hope the
interesting point too. I hadn't
right.
considered that.
I mean, granted, you let kids on the internet and they end up seeing all kinds of weird stuff that they shouldn't, but like, you know, that's probably. Then the other question that arises to me though is, you say that stuff is going to be in game, but there's some pretty illicit things that people do in a game. Like, I mean, honestly, I haven't played it, but like Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
I mean,
Beating
people
up
do some
hookers.
pretty. You said it, not me, but anyway, right? So like stuff like that. I mean, first of all, kids shouldn't be playing such a game anyway.
True.
But like,
Its
but
rating
like,
says that straight up.
but but here's the interesting question. Advertisers are also very sensitive to where their ads appear.
True.
So are they going to, what kind of situations? I mean, not our problem, I guess that's probably Rockstar Games problem or whoever is making a games problem, but like, you know, if there's a part of the game where a player can do something, I don't know, let's say antisocial,
Sure.
you probably don't want your ad showing in that part of the game.
Sure.
It's also think about the implications for streaming. So now so let's say I'm a game streamer, I stream.
Fascinating.
Now that ad is getting out there to a lot of people who are watching my stream. Um,
Yeah.
Now that's
Because
probably good for
because
the advertiser. They probably like it.
you're
But
you know you're sponsored by say Exa, right? And you're streaming a game, and all of a sudden a Logitech headset ad runs during your stream. I mean, that can happen on Twitch anyway. But
you can't, I mean, advertisers can't win like that. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if that causes any problems per se, but I mean, some streamers have relationships where they're sponsored
Mhm.
by X, Y, or Z company,
Right.
and then a competitor could come up and whatever. But on the other hand, nothing really the streamer can do about it, I'm sure.
And
So,
then you start thinking in that same vein, you start thinking, a lot of games are starting to implement a streamer mode, right? Where they don't use licensed music and things like that. Um, I wonder if there might be such a thing.
hmm, yeah,
Maybe that might
that's. I mean, I
affect.
hope somebody's thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a
On the
couple of
other,
topics that we've just brought up that hopefully somebody's thinking about. You know, advertiser content warnings and things like that.
yeah,
All the things
yeah.
that Google, let's say YouTube in particular, has learned over the last 15 years the hard way that we report on a regular basis. Hopefully, they're listening to the show.
Of course. And if you're
And they've
listening
been
right
listening to the
now,
problems.
tell us what innovative stuff you've seen the last year.
Yes. And no, if you're from Microsoft and Sony, your own products don't count.
Yeah.
And the other company's products don't count. Let's knock both of them out of contention if you work for either of those companies. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that as I was writing this, I did not consider. That's why I always love doing the show, because we always come up with aspects of these topics that I just never considered. So yeah, the content, something like Fable, right, or Grand Theft Auto. You can't kill the kids, but you can kill the dog, in Fable. So, you know, maybe you don't want your advertisement side by side with particular content. So I mean, there'd be all kinds of things. This is a
Yep.
more complicated thing than I fear might be considered. So,
Yep.
from what it sounds like from both reports, it sounds like we're expecting to see something in this realm before the end of 2022. So, doesn't look like it'll be too far off before we hear word of what is going on. We will definitely keep you posted. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.